Welcome to the Big and Tall Show, a podcast that is designed to help you in your faith and encourage you to stand big and tall as a Christian. In this sinful world, the Christian life can be difficult, but Mark, who is big, and Tom, who is tall, are here to help you navigate your Christian journey. And now, get ready to experience the wit and wisdom of Tom and Mark as you listen to the Big and Tall podcast.
Thank you so much, Jay, and welcome everyone back to the Big and Tall Show podcast. And we're here on another beautiful day that we've really been enjoying some beautiful early spring days here, and we have another one, and just honored and blessed to have you listening to us and joining us for another week. Mark, how are you today?
That's right, Tom. Doing well, and glad to hear from you today. And we hope everyone is having a good week, as I think we are. As you said, we have some good spring weather. We've also got some of the pollen. I can see the green stuff floating around, and everybody can probably tell that we may be dealing with some allergies here today. But Tom, this is our last episode in this season, and you know we're still new to the podcast world. I mean, we've been doing this now a little bit over a year, and you know we've been doing a lot of research, and what is a season in a podcast? And we don't know.
No, we don't, and it's almost like also you go back to television shows. We go back to, and I know this is the go-to in the Runyon house, but the Andy Griffith Show, and you're clicking through your YouTube TV trying to see which episode of the Andy Griffith Show you want to watch, and there's season 1, 2, 3, 4, and there were 30 episodes in a season, but really, how long was that? And as you watch Opie get older and grow up, you know that some time is passing. But some TV shows it may be 20 episodes as a season. But yeah, in the podcast world, who knows? I think it's just completely up to the creators, and so that's kind of the direction we've gone.
Yeah, I've seen some podcasts, and they said we're in season 2, and it's episode 50, and I'm thinking, okay, well, and then others I see that, they run quickly through seasons. But what me and you sort of talked about is, we're in sort of the quarter system on as a Sunday school and in church, and so we're thinking. Or this is what we've been thinking, 12 to 13 episodes per season. That would be a quarter, basically, for the year, 4 quarters for the year. So that's what we're doing. And we said all that to say this is our last episode of this season. And then, Tom, in 2 weeks, we're gonna take 1 week off, and then we will be back on April the 8th. That will be our 4th season of the Big and Tall podcast, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to continue, talking about our world and about things that concern us, and have different thoughts at the beginning of the podcast for about the first 10 minutes. But then this season we've been doing restaurant reviews, and I've enjoyed that. We got one more on this episode. But next season we're gonna take a dive into the New Testament and look at the book of 1 John, and so I look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I love just as you mentioned, just getting into a book and really diving into it, and with the entire purpose, the sole purpose, as usual, is assisting ourselves and our listeners to stand big and tall in their faith. In the book of 1 John, and just so much there, so much depth of God and His love, and I'm excited about it. I really am.
I am too, and the format's not going to change much, other than the last 10 or to 15 minutes of each episode. But we'll spend that season 4, talking about the 5 chapters in the letter of 1 John, and so I look forward to it. But Tom, let's go ahead and wrap up this season. And I've had something on my mind the last couple of days, and especially I guess yesterday, we talked about that it's been very pretty weather, spring weather. The weather is the temperature is warm, and it's spring break where we are, in North Alabama, and I think it is for a lot of people. This is spring break for a lot of school systems, and we have had, and of course, being a preacher, I'm actually off on the 5th Sundays, and so this coming up Sunday is the 5th Sunday, so I am going to be preaching at the Grant congregation, but I'm not working up, basically new material. But anyway, I said all that to say, my kids are off, my wife is off, and so I'm sort of off this week as well. I'm still doing, some things I've got to do, Bible class and, encouragement and visiting and things like that. But we've had some good days here, of sunshine, of warm weather, and we have been taking advantage of this, doing some things outside around the house. We've got a farm in about 20 minutes away from where I live in Grant in Scottsboro, and we've been doing a lot of projects. My son Ben and I have been up there, the last several days working and trying to get some things fixed and just enjoying these days. And yesterday I woke up and I had this big day planned, and the weather is perfect and it's just going to be a great day. And it was a just a perfect day, weather wise. Felt good. I think there's a country music song out right now that says something about the sky is blue, the grass is green, and days like this don't come along too often. But yesterday morning, as I was thinking about my day, I texted a lady from our church, and I knew that she was having her second chemo treatment, and she has been fighting cancer now for the second time. It came back. After about a year or so in remission, it came back, and she's on her second chemo treatment. And I knew that yesterday was the day for the treatment, so I sent her a text and said, I'm praying for you. Hope you have a good treatment day, and hope it's successful and not make you too sick. And just a text of encouragement. And she sent back basically, I'm not looking forward to this day.
Right.
And then I saw that she posted on Facebook, she spent 9.5 hours yesterday getting a chemo treatment. Yeah. And, I don't know. We have good days and beautiful days, and we have plans. But Tom, we also need to remember that there are other people in the world that are close to us, that are family members, that are church members, that are struggling. And what we think is a perfect day, she said, I'm not looking forward to this day. I'm dreading this day. And I just think about how thankful are we on a daily basis? How often do we turn to our Heavenly Father and say, thank you for everything that you give me. Thank you for the perfect days that I have. Because, and here's my point, and I know I'm probably running too long on my segment, but here's my point. I went to visit a guy, 10 years ago, and I didn't know who he was. Somebody just said, hey, can you go visit him? It was a family member. And I said, sure, I'll go see him. He was in a nursing home, and he said something I'll never forget. And he was totally covered, eaten up with cancer. And I didn't know all of this. I just knew he was in bad shape. But I started talking to him. He said, you're a young man. I said, yes, sir. And he said, I want to tell you something. I said, okay. And he said, be thankful for days that are easy. Be thankful for the easy days. And I said, all right, thank you. I sure will. Well, he died 2 weeks after that, but I have never forgotten that statement. Be thankful for the days that are easy. Yeah. Because, Tom, tough days are coming for you, for me, for everybody. It may be cancer. It may be who knows what, a loss of a job. It may be marriage problems. It may be emotional, physical, spiritual problems. Who knows? Tough days are coming. Let's be thankful for those days that are easy. And I think about Psalm 68 and verse 19. Blessed be the Lord who daily loads us with benefits. What a beautiful thought that is. He daily, not just when we think we need them, but every day God loads us with these benefits. And so maybe today, if you're having a down day or down week and things are not going your way, just understand that God is still there. He still cares, and He is loading you with benefits no matter what's going on in your world.
That's right. And Mark, in a spiritual sense, yes, we are very aware of good days and then days that we will struggle. From an earthly standpoint, and I know we have been reminded of this throughout the past, 20 years. Our country was in constant turmoil as far as dealing with wars from the very inception of our country. And of course, the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Civil War, all these. And, your father, my father were both in Vietnam. And there's been a chunk of time where the normal everyday life of Americans have been completely unaffected by conflict or war, for a long time. And I know we've had, the Gulf War, we've had enduring freedom, we've had even the conflict that we're involved in right now. But from a standpoint of how is it affecting the life of an everyday American, it's for the most part non-existent. And right. and that's very unusual. And you look at the course of history back to Adam and Eve. That's very unusual. And so the good days may feel like they're completely upon us, but you're right. There are going to be struggles, and we spent so much time in our podcast first year really talking about how to deal with adversity and struggles, and because that's very it's a very important part of our lives that is going to happen. And
it's one thing, Tom, that because we're talking about standing big and tall in your faith, that's one thing, maybe the main thing in life that can really challenge our faith is when troubles come our way. We sometimes turn to God and say, why is this happening? What am I doing wrong? And things of that nature. But anyway, I think I just want to encourage everybody as I try to think this in my own mind. Be thankful for those days that are easy. Thank God for the easy days, and in turn, thank God for the hard days, because He's still working and He's still molding and shaping us.
That's right. Mark, I've kind of a similar mindset with my segment when you were talking about, beautiful weather and being able to get some projects done. And a big part of my life, whether it's my professional life of working now after, of course, being in education for so long, but now I'm basically part-time doing various things in the construction world. And Paige and I have actually recently opened a business that involves building things. And in the last couple of days, also here at the house, we have a deck out back, and I just now getting up to putting up railings and some handrails on the steps and all that kind of stuff. But and I think we talked about this a little bit last year as well. The concept of building things is something that there are so many consistencies among the physical world of building things and our spiritual life, and of course we're very aware of Jesus and His words about building our house upon the rock, and building our faith, building our having our foundation be on Jesus and on the rock. And you can look also in Ephesians chapter 2 verse 19, Philippians 1 verse 6, but I wanted to actually look at Colossians chapter 2, verses 6 and 7. And this is, once again, going back to the book of Colossians, which we've spent a tremendous amount of time in, of just how important Christ is and the character of Christ. But is in verse 6 and 7, as you therefore have received Christ Jesus the Lord, so walk in him, rooted and built up in him and established in the faith as you have been taught, abounding in it with thanksgiving. This, we're reminded to always be in Jesus, to continually be studying, continually be establishing our faith and building our faith and building our ability to be the light in the world that we're expected to be. And it's the same, like I said, is all the things that you see in the physical world of building. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. You're going to make mistakes. I can tell you how much wood I wasted yesterday because of a couple of careless cuts. We're going to make mistakes, but it's up to us to have that true foundation, and then to build upon that foundation, and then it to be a continual thing, continually building. And I'm reminded of those apostles, those first Christians after on the day of Pentecost, and in Acts chapter 2, that what were they doing? Verse 42, they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine, in fellowship, and the breaking of bread, and in prayers, just continually learning and studying. And you go back to exactly what you were talking about in your segment this morning, is that, what are you going to do when the tough times come? Well, I'm going to rely on my faith. I'm going to rely on the things that I have studied and know from God's word about those who are his followers, those who are awaiting a much more glorious existence in heaven, where there will be no pain, there will be no suffering, there will be no night. We're working towards that. And I don't know, I just like I said, the life I'm now living, which so revolves around building things, it's a daily reminder of my Christian faith and how I need to continually build upon my knowledge of God and his word, and continually build my faith through him. So I just, like I said, this beautiful weather, we're outside doing things, and just a constant reminder of our reliance upon God.
It is. And I love that verse in Colossians 2. That may be our theme verse for the podcast. I don't know. I mean, it applies to what we're trying to do, to build people up so that they can be rooted and established in their faith. And I love that idea. And, that sort of is a perfect segue, I guess you'd say, into what our next season is going to be about. And that's 1 John. You talk about being rooted and established. The word abide is used so many times in the book of 1 John. And we're going to be talking about that in a couple of weeks. So we hope people stick with us and come back for season 4. Tom, we've got one more restaurant review, a place that we visited just the other day, you and I and our wives.
Boy, what a good one.
Man, and it was I've been there several times. I think you have as well. But it's in Huntsville, Blue Plate Cafe in Huntsville. And every time I go, Tom, the tables are basically full. I mean, it is crowded out, whether you go at breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It is a happening place in Huntsville.
It is, and you always see such a great mix of people. I don't know if you noticed while we were in there, you had basically guys with matching shirts that are obviously coming off either a construction crew or a landscaping crew. We saw lots of men in very expensive suits, probably taking a break from the banks or the lawyers' offices. A lot of retired folks there, and
Tom, here's what I love, and Rachel and I talked about this when we left, is the amount of older people that are in there that I think go probably, if not every day, probably a couple of times a week, several times a week, just to live in the Huntsville area, and that's where they go to socialize. That's where they go to get a good meal. I love seeing all of the, like you said, the diversity of people, but I love seeing the older people. Well, let me tell you, here's a tip, all right? when you see a place covered up with elderly people, you know that's a good place to eat. You know that's going to be good food. You know it's going to be fairly cheap.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Rachel mentioned during the meal, hey, trust the older folks. They've got wisdom.
That's right.
They have made the life experiences and the life choices, and they've made mistakes and they've learned, and they have increased their wisdom with their years. So yeah, if you're in a place, whether it's a vacation spot, whether it's a restaurant, if you're in a place where there's a bunch of old folks, you're probably in the right place.
You're doing good,
and they've got it figured out.
If you get there at supper time, they're going to be there between 3:30 and 4, and that's also not a bad idea.
It is a great idea.
That's a great idea, actually. That's true. Tom, what did you get for your meal choice yesterday?
Well, I got the pork chop, which was one of the options for the day that we were there. But it was pretty good fried pork chop. Of course, you put a little hot sauce on it, it's even better. I was pleasantly surprised with the hash brown casserole. I didn't know what to expect, and I thought it was really good. But now to top it off, and this has been kind of Paige and my goal in our life as far as is going to restaurants is, can we find good fried okra? My grandmother made amazing fried okra in that cast iron skillet. My mother learned it from her, cooked it the same way. Paige's mother, same thing, from her mother. The Southern women and fried okra, it's something special. And you don't find good fried okra in a restaurant. You just don't. It's usually breaded at the factory, frozen, put in a bag, and they get it out, put it in the deep fryer for a few minutes. But hey, I'm going to tell you one thing. That was probably the best fried okra I've ever had in a restaurant. It did not feel like it was mass produced. It felt like it was coming from Grandma's kitchen, and it was really good.
I agree. I had that side as well, and it was excellent. I got for my meat, which is a little bit strange, was meatloaf. I usually don't do meatloaf, but I just had that feeling that, hey, this is going to be good, and it actually was good. I also tried the chicken fingers that my wife Rachel had. I also tried her hash brown casserole. I ate most of her plate too. So anyway, it was a good experience. I think it was a great place for us to go to wind up our restaurant reviews. We still have more restaurants. I still want you to go with me to grandmother's house in the Owens Crossroads area. That's a great one. Hey, we may not be doing a restaurant review every week, but I guarantee that we're going to be talking about food and places that we eat from time to time, Tom.
We sure will. And just to tie back into it, in Acts chapter 2, what I just read, verse 42, they continued steadfast in the apostles' doctrine, fellowship, and the breaking of bread and in prayers. The fellowship aspect of gathering, and that's kind of what I thought of with Blue Plate, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
The amount of people in there that's their time to be together, that their time to catch up on current events or gossip, whatever you want to call it, and just that's such an important part of our lives, fellowshipping with one another. Yes, spending time together, eating a meal together. It's for me, what a great way to improve our faith, to help us stand big and tall in our faith.
That's right. Tom, good season, and Lord willing, we're going to take next week. It's April Fool's Day, so we're going to take that off, and then we will be back on April the 8th, and for season 4. And we hope everybody continues to join us and continues to stand big and tall in their faith.
That's exactly right. Y'all have a wonderful week off with us, and we look forward to gathering back with you on April 8th.
If you have enjoyed today's episode of The Big and Tall Show, please tell your friends and make it easy by sharing the link to our show with them. If you haven't subscribed, this is the time to do just that. And on behalf of Tom and Mark, thank you for listening. This has been The Big and Tall Show, a podcast dedicated to helping you live your life for Jesus Christ.